Weight loss.
Ah,
Okay,
yeah, you see,
I have a before and after picture up now.
I love a good side by side, a
Yeah.
good pick stitch.
So I want to know what influenced the weight loss and what's the difference between then and now, life wise, health wise, everything wise, energy
Life wise,
wise.
yeah, everything.
Yeah, everything.
So I've been fat my whole life since at least like 8 or 9 is
Okay.
whenever I started. I think when I was 6 and 7, I was like an average sized kid. But whenever I had the green light to like make my own breakfast plate, and no one ever put a limit on what I put on it and how much I consumed,
It was up.
it was game. It was
Yeah.
over, right? So at 6 and 7, I think that's kind of like when your mom's still like, here's your breakfast, eat your, they're managing your plate.
Yeah.
But my plate management skills were not, they were off, right? The scale tipped real.
Oh, they were really on.
They were really, man. So, I grew up eating a very Southern buffet at every mealtime.
Right,
breakfast was biscuit, gravy, scrambled and fried egg, bacon, sausage, country ham,
Yeah.
like the whole shit.
Don't sound bad.
And I would take all of that, and I had a way of doing it. My family made fun of me for years. I would be ready to eat by the time they were finished because I would take the biscuit and break it up and spread it all over the plate. And then I'd take the eggs and chop it up and put it over the biscuit. And I'd take the sausage and break it up and the bacon and the country ham and then cover the whole thing in gravy. And then I'd even get a little pancake syrup and put on top of that, right?
Yeah.
Nobody said not to.
Right.
So I got big from my domestication.
Okay.
And from not having any
Access.
boundaries.
You had crazy access.
Yeah, I had mad access. Southern living is what they call it. Like, if you from the South, it's like expected for some reason. And that's not even real, right? That's just some domesticated bullshit that we've been told so many times that as people from the South, we feel like we've been given this green light to gorge ourselves with the worst kind of foods. And it's okay,
right?
Because we're from the South. Like, that's just how we roll.
Yeah.
But like the fattest city in the United States is up in Indiana somewhere. So like, that's not even true. It's bullshit, right? So I was domesticated wrong. And I'm not blaming my parents. I don't blame anybody, right? Life is just what it is. But like,
well, from the outside looking in, I was thinking that was going to be one of the questions. Was it like, when an artist hit a certain peak, it's either a substance they overdo, or I didn't know if it was, okay, now I got unlimited everything. I'm just consuming.
No, this started as a child, and if you really wanted to get psychologically deep into it, which I don't mind, I would say that my food consumption became a food addiction around the same time that I was introduced to pornography.
Okay.
So there's some real psychological connection there.
Yeah.
That at 10 and 12 and 14 that you're very unaware of. But once you get old enough, and then if you're lucky enough to be smart enough to reflect back on the truth of your life and find out where things went a different direction, I remember being introduced to pornography in a very strange way. And it was tied to food consumption.
Yes.
Right. Let me lay this out for you. This is some deep shit, right? And like, no fault to any person involved. It's my family, right? But I don't blame nobody for nothing. My dad, who is a very cool fucking dude. Like, my dad was my best friend, and when I lost my dad, that was like one of the most detrimental things that ever happened to me. Also, one of the most instrumental things that ever happened to me, because that's when I evolved as a man.
Yeah.
But my dad was my very best friend, and he brought home to me a Playboy magazine that had Vanna White in it.
Yeah. That's
right?
back in the day.
And my mom didn't know, and I'll tell this now because both my parents have passed. My mom ain't gonna find out.
Yeah.
I mean, she already knows now.
Yeah.
But my dad had brought me and my brother both our own copy because he was smart enough to know you can't share that.
Yeah.
Our own copy of Playboy with Vanna White.
Okay.
Right? Now, this is where it got...
What TV show was she?
Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
Now, this is where it gets psychologically tricky. As a family, when we ate dinner at night, around the table, we watched Wheel of Fortune while we ate.
Yeah.
So here, I put this together and almost had to go talk to a psychiatrist about it. I'm like, I'm sitting at a table, right? Unlimited amount of food. I'm watching on the TV.
Yeah.
The lady that I'm looking at in my own private time naked. And I'm feeding this, like, it's this addiction to flavor.
Yeah.
And this addiction to pleasure.
Dopamine going crazy.
Are hand in hand. It's the same psychological gateway, right? Like flavor is pleasure. Pleasure is pleasure. So the endorphins that were being created inside my body that was fueling this lifelong addiction, right?
Yeah.
At a young age, like, and when I pinpointed that shit, I was like, whoa. It really tripped me out because it's true. That's when, and that's when I started to gain weight at a young age. That's when I started to become obese. By the time I was 12, I'd say I was probably considered obese. I was big through middle school, high school, always the big guy, you know. Never was good at too many sports, you know. I wasn't the athletic dude, so I had to be the cool kid.
Yeah.
Right. So
did you ever felt like I don't want to use the word abuse, but did you ever use that to your advantage? Like when you walk up on people's strong handshake, strong shoulder pats, and you know.
Well, I mean, I did use my weight to my advantage. Like my brother was smaller than me, even though he was older. Right. Yeah. So I could sit on him.
Yeah.
And he stuck. There wasn't nothing he could really do. And I did that from time to time. But it was also something that was like, if you're going to even consider using it to your advantage, it's definitely going to be used against you. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody sees the fat kid walk in.
Yeah.
When you go into a restaurant, everybody notices the fat kid. When you walk into a buffet, everybody watches the fat kid. Like, man, let's see what he's going to do. And as a young kid, it even got to the point, let me talk about sports for a second, because I did play sports. My dad was my coach in a couple of things.
You played, what'd you play?
Baseball, football, basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like all the junior pro stuff up until middle school. And then when I hit middle school, I got in the band. But whenever I was playing sports, I remember whether we won or lost, we would go to Pizza Inn after the game, and Pizza Inn had a buffet.
Yeah.
Right. And my teammates were more into how many slices can John eat?
It was a challenge.
It was like, what did he eat last time? 23 slices? Let's see if he can break that.
Yeah.
So it was like, damn the game. They wanted to just get to Pizza Inn and see how many slices I could put away.
Right.
And nobody stopped me. Nobody said, hey.
You're not even thinking about that.
Nobody.
Yeah.
In my mind as a kid, when you've been given the green light on consumption, on food and flavor and pleasure.
It's a go.
It's a go. So, I mean, you look at kids now, try to take some sugar out of a kid's hand. You might as well be taking crack out of Hunter Biden's hand. You know what I'm saying? Like they're coming for your throat. So it was the same thing. It was like, but nobody even tried. Nobody even said anything. And, you know, I got to where I was just consuming so much food. And then it wasn't just how much food, it was the kind of food, right? Okay. It was heavy meats, like meat. I would eat cow, pig, chicken in one meal. Yeah. It didn't matter. Sometimes I'd put fish in there too. Like if I went somewhere and they had like the mixed meat, like give me that. I want the cow, pig, chicken. I want the steak with the chicken breast on the side, maybe the barbecue. Then I want all the noodles.
Yeah.
I want them covered in all the cheese. And then on all those meats, I want all the sauces.
Yeah.
And then while you're at it, bring me the basket of bread. And then I'm going to dunk that in all the butter.
Damn.
Then when I finish all that, can I see the dessert menu? Yeah. Because ain't nobody said that I'm not supposed to be like, you know.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody said, hey, you know.
He just eating.
They're selling it. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
I'm eating it. What I can't eat is going in a box. I'm taking it home. I'm gonna eat that later. So that was just, you know, that was my life for like.
So when did it get to the point where you felt like, all right,
I had to do something?
Yeah.
When I had open heart surgery.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I wasn't stopping.
Yeah.
Hell no.
You kind of had to be forced.
Yeah, no, I wasn't stopping. Shit. Anybody that knows me knows I've been going hard my whole life.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to eating. I was 38. So let's fast forward, you know, copy paste every year, more glutton. And then once I got to around 12 is when I started smoking weed. I never really drank that much when I was a kid, but I did drink.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there was nobody telling me I couldn't drink. Nobody telling me I couldn't smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, I had to hide the fact that I smoked weed because that was illegal. And in the 80s and shit, my parents, they were not cool with it. My parents never got high.
Yeah.
Well, not that I take that back. They might not know they got high.
Yeah.
But they got high.
Yeah.
But, you know, like consumption for me, fast forward to an adult, now in my 20s, I battled some real addictions. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have to get into that because I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, but real addictions happen when you become older, you know?
Okay.
So I battled some real addictions for about a decade that, you know, the kind of stuff that if you survive, you did do good.
Yeah.
Like if you came out the other end and you still you were intact, you're good, right? Because it was a whole, like this is a small town in Middle Tennessee. There wasn't a whole lot to do.
Yeah.
So it was straight. You just hit the streets and hustled, right? Just cause. You know what I'm saying? It was in the time of getting money.
Yeah.
You know, and you could. So we were. And on that, when you got access to that kind of you know, drugs and stuff, sometimes you partake. So, you know, that turned into addiction, which when I battled that was like, that's when I realized I was like a superhero, a superhuman. You know what I'm saying? When you can find yourself on the other side of a real addiction, I was like, man, if I can quit that, I could probably do anything, you know?
Yeah.
So I had been smoking cigarettes since I was 7, and here I was.
So how hard was it to give up meat then?
Harder than it was to give up drugs. Yeah, some drugs were easier to give up than meat.
You had to instantly, or you
like opiates were easy to say no to, right? Yeah. My little stint with opiates was like with Lortabs and shit. Come from a pharmaceutical situation, which is what turned me off from pharmaceuticals. You know, I had a doctor that was like, you know, I was experiencing pain. He's like, hey, I got the answer. Here's some hydros. And I was like, oh shit, these are great. You know, and then you pop 4 of them and go to Walmart and go shopping, and it's a party. So then, you know, it goes from like fixing a problem to like you're recreationally using, and then you're like, oh damn. But like opiates and stuff like that, it always made me sick, made me nauseous. So it was easy to give that up. You know what I'm saying? Cocaine, different. Because
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug in every form, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Small town, Bedford County, USA had a whole lot of cocaine somehow. Yeah. You know, we ain't growing it.
Yeah.
It's coming we got it. They made sure that we have plenty of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and in the 90s and shit, it run rampant. But, you know, I had kids and I knew that I had to become a better person for my children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, that's what took me off of my first addiction was my children. You know, I have my children to thank for saving my life, along with some hard work. That's around the same time I was like pouring concrete.
Yeah.
And you really got to dive into something that consumes your energy and your time, so concrete 6 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day would make sure that you wasn't sitting somewhere doing something that you shouldn't be.
Supposed to be doing.
And then coming home to seeing your kids and how much they love you made you just get up and go do concrete the next day, and then on the one day that I had off, I'd put that whole day into music, having my studio, working with my people. So, and I'd write songs on the job site, but to the, back to the food and me losing the weight,
the open heart surgery.
I was on tour, on a West Coast tour, like a $2 million bus, 50 city tour, 7-piece band, management, tour management, merch man, bus driver and security guard, like the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm on a West Coast tour for the first time and we're having a blast. The only problem was it felt like there was a gorilla standing on my chest. And I was about 390 plus pounds.
Yeah.
I was big.
Yeah.
This was after the TV
you mean
show.
Like it was hard to breathe?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Impossible to breathe. And I had this pain. And while I was on tour, it got worse. And I went to the hospital in several cities while we were on tour. And they were like, you got it's stress. And I'm like, I'm smoking enough weed to kill any stress, right? Yeah. And then it was like, you're low on potassium. I'm like, I eat bananas all day.
Yeah.
And then it was, we don't know what's wrong with you. And I was like, I'll probably agree with that. And then the next hospital, and we're talking about all the way over to Cali, from Texas, Cali, Oregon, up into Canada.
Making stops everywhere.
I'm everywhere, bro. And then I fall out of Canada. I'm in the hospital in Canada, which was weird. And they wanted to keep me there. I was like, no, I got a show tomorrow. And they were like, you're going to die if you do a show tomorrow. Something's wrong with you. I was like, I'm straight. Get me out of this hospital. And then we left Canada and went to Minnesota. And my bus driver at the time, who was my best friend, Mike Lowry, he was also my security guard. And he had told me, he's like, Smo, I'm going to make you a doctor's appointment. I'm going to take you myself. I'm not going to see you die out here. Because he knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
Because he was with me every night. He was my security. He was my shadow. So walking from the bus and only being able to go 20 feet without having to stop and catch my breath, nobody knew as much as he did. Because he was walking and stopping with me.
That's a problem.
And he knew. So he made me a cardiology appointment at the Mayo Clinic. And we came out of Canada and went there. I went straight in, did one test. They were like, all right, we'll get back to you. I got back in the bus, going down the road. I had already lit up a joint and was getting high. And they were like, they called my phone. I was like, who is this? Hello? Hey, we're at the hospital. You just left? And I was like, yeah, we need you to turn around and come back. I was like, oh, really? Why? We'll tell you when you get here. So we got back and they were like, hey, something's wrong. You guys, something is really wrong. They did this chemical stress test and they like showed something. So then they did this where they went in through my wrist with a camera.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, right? They had to shave your balls to do that, by the way, which is really weird. I was like,
make no sense. Yeah.
It's so weird how they love to shave your balls when you're in the hospital. I got more Manscaped done in the hospital than the whole previous years. I actually got some better techniques from watching someone else shave my balls that I just continue to use today. But they did this scope and they were like, I come out of that and they told me, they said, if we can fix you while we're in there, we will. I come out of that. They were like, no, we couldn't fix you, bro. You got 4 blocked arteries. One of them's 100% blocked. 3 of them are 90% blocked. You got to have open heart surgery. Jesus. And never in my life have I had the sweat run over my body and feel like I was going to faint.
Yeah.
Until then. And I was like, because you only hear that like once in your life if you're lucky, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
True.
for them to tell me that, and I'm 39 years old, right? And But you knew you was moving and living fast. Yeah, no, I was in fast lane and I was drinking a lot. So going back to the drinking, I didn't drink a lot when I was younger, but professionally, drinking became part of my brand, you know, because I think the fact that I was drinking a lot of moonshine whenever I had really got really popularized, you know what I'm saying? And then it became, and I was already drinking.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, shit, if they like this, I can do this already.
Yeah.
Wait, drink a little shot, everybody cheers. I'm like, well, what's going to happen if I drink the whole jar? They go crazy.
So it becomes part of it.
Yeah, it become part of it. So I was out on stage and my drink was Jim Beam Red Stag. I loved that shit. I loved it. That and a Dr. Pepper. Call that a backyard boogie. Okay. For those who are still drinking, 2 shots of Red Stag and then 6 ounces of Dr. Pepper, glass of ice, backyard boogie. That was my drink. But on stage, I would just walk on with a half gallon of Red Stag and I walk out, whole crowd go crazy, spin the top off, they go crazier. I turn that joker up and I mean, I'd knock out the neck in a chunk before I'd even hit play on the show. And you know, full band, the energy is just crazy. So I was out touring like that whenever I had these heart complications. And I went into the hospital and they were like, my surgeon, so this is the dude that first changed my life in the health aspect. My surgeon, who was a fan of mine, he said, he was like, SMO, I'm going to be honest with you. You're fucked, right? If you keep living the way you live, like you're not going to live long. Even if I do this surgery, if you go back to the half gallon of whiskey every night on stage, if you go back to eating 4 or 5 steaks a day and all this weird shit that you do that the rest of the world don't really get to do at that capacity,
right.
You know, because my life was catered at this point. It was just like whatever I wanted. And
probably didn't even have to pay for a lot of shit.
Well, I mean, no, I paid for it. The company paid. My company paid for it, but it, you know, it didn't matter. You're going to spend your money on something. So I was definitely buying a lot of food. But he told me, he said, look, make me this promise and I'll do this surgery. And not only will I do this surgery, I'll do it where you'll be good for the rest of your life if you do what I say. And I was like, lay it on me because I'm scared to death. I don't want to die. I want to see my kids. I ain't even got to see my kids, you know what I'm saying, knowing that I'm about to have this surgery. Right. And I'm in Minnesota, they're in Tennessee. And I was like, I want to live. You just tell me what I got to do. And he was like, you looking for your phone? Yeah. Underneath your seat. Okay. Yep, in the dirt. So he told me, he said, SMO, if you do these things, I'll do the surgery. And I was like, all right, lay it on me. No more red meat. Ooh, shit. Why you got to start like that? No more red meat? He was like, no more pork. I was like, oh man, now you fucking with my emotions, bro. Talking about bacon? Come on, man. Like, what about every other pork except for bacon? And he was like, can't do it. No more alcohol.
Oh, so he was just killing you blow by blow.
And I was like, bro, like, what the fuck else? And he was like, no more fried food. I said, okay, all right, now you're just fucking with me, right? And he was like, no more soft drinks. Nothing. I'm like, when's this list going to end? He was like, that's it. Those are the things. Red meat, pork, fried food, soft drinks, and alcohol. If you can quit
everything.
If you can quit those 5 things, bro, I'll do this surgery for you and I'll make you strong again. And I was like, all right, Let's do it. I mean, I'm going to tell him I'm going to do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to try.
We got to get the surgery done.
I got to get the surgery, shit. So I went in and had the surgery. You know, there's not a lot I remember from it. There was no, you know, the cool thing about the Mayo Clinic is they've got the kind of technology that there's an app where my brother and my manager was outside watching when they stopped my heart. Yeah. And then I was flatlined I was on a respirator or whatever, but my heart wasn't beating. Yeah. For an hour and 15 minutes while they worked on me.
Now, I want to cut into this because this is a good topic because I just seen this and that would be a good clip that we could put out. They want to start. The question is, should doctors wear body cams now, like the police, since that is something that could drastically take your life?
I would love to have been able to watch my surgery.
Yeah. But I mean, like, do you think the doctor should start being required to wear body cams based off of some of the?
I mean, if the technology's there,
yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
If you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing while you're operating with me, and that's gonna hold you accountable and make you not do it, then wear a camera.
Yeah.
If it's a problem, which I don't see where it would be, you should be able to have little drones flying around in the operating room now, and nobody even worrying about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anything, not even just for your protection, but like for education, like
both. Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to watch my surgery if I survive, and that's going to see if I would have been able to watch my surgery, I would have been a guarantee that I wouldn't have eaten any of that stuff again. Because if you see you laying on the table with your shit split open and your heart out, and they're sitting there fucking with
different. Yeah,
like that's third eye open.
Yeah,
I had my eyes open,
out, so you don't
know, right? And they made me watch a video of a heart surgery before, which was not cool, but it wasn't my heart.
Yeah,
and that would have been cool. My wife wished that she was like, I wish we had a video of it. And I'm sure there is a video of it somewhere. They probably watch it and laugh at it.
Ah, man.
Well, probably not laugh, but you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, look, this is where I cut Smo's chest open. But yeah, I don't know. I'm cool with cameras, if it's that type of situation. I think that's cool. But surgery went good. Recovery was like 2 months. I did my rehab at Vanderbilt, where I had to go to Vanderbilt like 3 days a week and learn how to breathe again, and learn how like exercise is like light stuff, because you can't, when they cut your chest open. So I mean, there's a scar. It's a 13-inch scar that goes all the way down my chest, right? And I can feel where it's wired together. Right. So this is with me forever. This is a good reminder now of why I don't do what I used to do. But when this first happened, it's so sensitive that you can't cough, you can't sneeze, you can't fart without shedding a tear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't even take a shit without hurting. They give you a pillow that you have to hug for everything, and I still have my pillow.
Yeah.
And I just held onto this pillow for 2 months, and you can't drive because seatbelt, like every reason. So for like,
are you feeling like you on house arrest, or you can still leave because like doctor's visits, stuff like that? Did you ever have to?
No, it was like house arrest kind of.
Okay,
yeah. But I did have to, and when I left, it would go to the facility in Vanderbilt. Transported there, transported back.
Yeah.
Me not driving. One of my homies, my manager at the time, or whoever would drive me. And then, I slowly started to, I felt better instantly when I woke up in the ICU.
Yeah.
Except for they still had the tube down my throat. Like when I woke up, I still had a tube down my throat, which was real weird. But when I got out of ICU, I instantly felt better after the surgery. They put these tubes, they cut holes right here in your abs, and they put these tubes up in you for drainage. Because when they do surgery, they have to fill you with a lot of liquid.
Yeah.
And you drain this fluid out of these tubes. The worst part of the surgery was whenever they had to remove those tubes.
Oh,
because they go in your ab area and they go all the way up here, and one kind of comes up and around, and this one's like over here. So when they pull them out, it's like, so
they keep you awake for that part.
Oh, you got to be awake. That's like 7 days after your surgery. Yeah, you got to get them tubes out, and you got to take a shit before they let you leave.
Ah, man.
And then you're out.